Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be talking about that new Vision Pro headset that Apple just announced at WWDC. I was watching WWDC live yesterday on stream and basically saw this product released, well not released but announced live and had some thoughts there so you could check out the VOD of my stream. I'll link it below as well. But also, I wanted to just talk more about some of my thoughts now that I've had, a whole day to think about it and seen some reviewers even try out that headset. So let's get into this new headset. Also, I will apologize if you hear a little bit of noise in the background. I'm using my AirPods. Hopefully, it isolates that noise, isolates my voice over the noise, but I am currently drying some clothes. Okay, so this is the new Vision Pro headset, and you might be looking at it and thinking, interesting. It's not super like a lot of the other headsets in that most headsets are round, well, elliptical. I don't know how to say it. It's like a completely symmetrical and just a pill shaped, right? Like the Oculus Quest, the Oculus Rift, the Valve Index. A lot of things are just pill shaped, and Apple's got the ski goggle look, and of course, Apple always likes to make designs that are um, different than everybody else, and that's what they do. They put notches on everything. They did the dynamic island, things like that. So things that look different. So if you see people with a ski goggle looking AR glasses, it's Apple's. All right, let's move on. Here is the first look, and you might notice that there are eyes right in front of the display, and this is one of the features that Apple talks a lot about. It is basically able to emulate your eyes. I'm not too sure if it's exactly capturing your eyes or just using the 3D model that you capture of yourself, and it's emulating your eyes. But basically, this is not a traditional goggle. It's not see-through. It is actually just a display that is basically playing back your eyes in real time. And that's something that no other headset, I believe, on the market does. And I think there are a few like gimmicky ones that are just LED screens with like, eyes that open and close, but it's not actually looks like your eyes. So this will pass through your eyes so that people can know where you're looking, if you're looking at them, or if you're inside and a virtual experience. I think this is a very cool idea, and of course, it makes people look kind of creepy in a way. You can see it makes your eyes look a little bit creepy, and it's definitely the source of many memes. But I think this is a unique idea, unique approach. However, I personally think this is going to be on the top end of Vision Pro. I don't think it's gonna make it to the Vision, whatever the Vision Normal and the Vision SE, just because it's an extra feature that basically isn't very useful other than being cool. So this is a cool first gen sort of pro um, feature that I don't think that if this would be one of the first things to X. You might have like indicator that you're looking at people, but you don't need a full screen. This is like actually costs a lot of money. Now, moving on, here it is. Welcome to the era of spatial computing. And as you can see, it seems like you just put on this headset and the world looks exactly the same. Now, I'm a little bit skeptical about this, but according to other reviewers, it is you basically forget you're wearing it. And I don't really doubt that, but I do need to try for myself. I don't. The reason why I don't doubt that is because like AirPods, right now I'm using transparency mode. It's basically like I'm not wearing them. Obviously, you can feel them; they're in your ear, and there are things like the wind and other high or low pitched sounds that are super amplified or super sounds weird. But in general, 99% of the time, it just feels like your ears are clear. But clearly, they're plugged, and if you turn off the transparency mode, you can hear the difference, right? So I think that Apple probably refined this very well, and they have two cameras, main cameras, to pipe through the world. But I do need to experience this for myself. I don't know how real it will look. And just on a tangent, I've tried multiple VR headsets that have passed through, not the MetaQuest Pro, notably. I think that one's pretty good. But uh, the ones I've tried, some of them are black and white. Some of them they distort the image in a little bit in a different way, so that when you walk around, it's kind of disorienting. And all of them are not super high quality. So you will definitely know you're in looking at screens. You can't read your watch, you can't read your computer or anything like that. You can see the computer, you can see your watch, but it's hard to read text on it. And apparently, according to some of the reviewers, they could read what's on their watch. They can read different. They could see the environment. It's basically as if you're not wearing anything. So that's pretty cool. And you'll see also at the second part of this video. Let me get it to that part. This pops up, and this is the new home screen. Basically, you can jump into many apps, mixed reality apps, and as you can see right now, it's all Apple apps because nobody has made any apps right now. But supposedly, all iPhone, iPad apps are compatible, so you can run iPhone, iPad apps. We'll see how good or bad that is because the Mac, the M1 can run iPhone and iPad apps, but a lot of developers choose not to opt into that. So I don't know if it's an opt-in program or if it's on by default. Also, there's a lot of AR apps. So those are like normal apps you can use, but there are also a lot of AR apps out there. And I'm sure that those, if the developers allows it, you can use it as well. So it would be pretty cool. There will be a lot of apps when it releases. Whether or not it's optimized, that's a whole different thing. So yeah. Next, Apple Vision Pro seamlessly blends digital content with your physical space. So, yeah, this is another cool demo. So, basically, you're able to have these windows of content in your space. And I'm curious because these people don't move around a lot, but I'm curious if you can just put windows everywhere in your house, right? If you could put a recipe in your kitchen, you can put I don't know, YouTube on your desk, and maybe a CAD file on your workstation or something like that, right? Basically, different windows everywhere in your house, and it will just remember where it is. I don't know if it has, it probably can, but I don't know if that's one of the features that they're pushing is you can basically digify your house, make it digital, and have windows everywhere and have content everywhere and just walk to places and you can see your stuff. So I don't know how persistent that is, and especially if you take off the headset and put it back on, if it will remember everything. But yeah, this is pretty cool. Having content in your physical space in 3D space, and you can walk around and interact with it. So that's a cool thing. And I think a lot of AR headsets, especially VR headsets, don't do that because you're completely in a virtual space. But mixed reality, that's the idea, is what you want to try to do. And I think this implementation is really good, especially if you're able to put windows everywhere in your house. Now, this is a big point. You navigate simply by using your eyes, hand, and voice. And the reason why this is a big thing is because a lot of times, well, two things. Now, a lot of times, VR headsets have controllers, and those are great for gaming, but they are also not the best input device, not the most natural because you have to go and search for them. It's another thing to charge or change batteries for. It's kind of heavy. Sometimes you don't want to hold them anymore. And that's why the Valve Index ones where it hooks onto your hand is really nice because you can just let go and you don't have to hold it anymore. But this is even cooler because it has no controllers, and Apple's not going to make a controller for it. And I assume you can't use a controller with it. All you have to do is use your eyes, hands, and voice. And the way that works is the voice part's pretty self-explanatory. You can use Siri, and you can use dictation, right? You can type in text fields. But the eyes and hands part is pretty cool because basically there are eye trackers inside the headset that track both of your eyes and figure out where you're looking. And depending on where you're looking, UI elements will be highlighted, and you can just, as you can see, you can tap your fingers together to select. There's a few gestures, select, drag, and then I think zoom is like something like that. But yeah, you could just use your fingers and where you're looking, and where you're looking is where the cursor is, and where you tap is the click action. And I think that's really cool. And the reason why I think that's really cool is because currently I've tried Meta Quest 2 hand tracking, and that also has the pinch gesture, but that requires you to hold your hand up and sort of move it around, select the right element, and then click. And it is kind of tiring doing that, and also sometimes it mistracks and everything. And so using eye tracking will be so much better because it's where you're looking is where you're going to click, and that makes a lot of sense. And I also have a Tobii eye tracker, which does similar things. It's able to know where your eyes are looking. And there's a feature where if you alt tab, basically if you're switching between tasks, you can look at the right window and it'll pick that one. And I think it works really well, and it's really cool because the one you can look through, and then the one you want, you're looking at it, you let go of alt tab, and that's the one that it chooses. So it's very natural because it's natural where you look where you want to click, and so it's able to use that to determine it. And then the hands part is you can put your hands anywhere. Apparently, you can rest it, as you can see, rested on your lap, or put it up or low, anywhere, and the cameras are able to pick it up, and it's very natural. And that's something that will be a plus because the last thing you want is unnatural movement, very hard to use and very hard to interact with. So I think using eyes, using hands, using voice, that's a very big and cool selling point. Now, the big thing I also have questions about is keyboard input. There is dictation and there is the eyes and click thing, but I would really like to see Apple. I don't think they announced anything specific, but being able to air type or type on a desk. They did say you can hook up a Bluetooth keyboard, but I think that's kind of not the same because I don't want to carry my Bluetooth keyboard everywhere, and everywhere I'm wearing the headset, I need to input stuff. So if you're able to air type or at least type on a desk would be more natural. It'll project a keyboard and you can just type. That would be so much better. And I don't think any headset out there right now has that feature, and obviously I think it's a really hard feature, but I hope Apple is able to implement that, at least for maybe their next generation headset. So let's go ahead and continue. So desktop. So this is another point that I do want to talk about. Basically, you can use your Apple desktop. You can use your MacBook desktop inside your mixed reality. Well, this one probably is not really about your MacBook, but basically It is a MacBook on your face. It has the M2 chip and it's able to run MacBook. It can run apps. I don't think it has Mac OS. It won't be Mac OS. It's kind of like a blend between Mac OS and iOS, but it can run apps natively. And then also you can connect to your MacBook and display your screen onto that mixed reality headset, mirror your screen in real time. And that technology already kind of exists. Like right now, I am using my iPad to mirror, to do sidecar, and I did that during my stream as well. And it is basically no latency. Like I'm looking at the camera and moving my hand. There's basically no latency, and there's no frame drops or anything, and that's amazing. And so clearly they are able to do this. They can do that for the headset. They can mirror a MacBook screen. And the advantage of that is you don't have to leave your headset and you can run Mac apps. Mac OS apps are usually heavier, and the headset probably it has the M2 chip, but it does not have, M2 Pro, M2 Max, M2 Ultra. It doesn't have a lot of RAM on it, so for the more intensive tasks, you still want to use your MacBook. And so if it's able to display and make your MacBook display bigger, which it does, it's going to be a pretty good experience. Um, Being able to walk to your MacBook, use it, and then walk away from MacBook and use other apps, that would be pretty cool. The Ultimate Theater is also another uh, point that a lot of reviewers talk about. Uh, they showed Avatar, the new Avatar movie, and apparently it's really good. It's a 3D movie, and you can basically set it as like a movie theater screen, and it's really big, really immersive, and also apparently the 3D effect is really good. Also, as you can see at the end of that video clip, they also talked about having courtside sporting events. So you can watch sporting events as if you're sitting right next to the court. Well, too late. But yeah, you can watch sporting events as if you were there in the front row, which would be very cool and an experience that nobody else provides. Also, they teamed up already with Disney and Unity to bring a lot of experiences to this headset. And I think that's a very, very big head start against MetaQuest and all these other companies, is because Disney is going to bring their content to this platform, and that includes a large library of movies, but not only movies, but also like ESPN Sports, which we talked about, being able to watch sports on the court side, and also Unity games, so you can play games and run 3D apps directly on the headset. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens in the space and how it works. Uh, Let me see. This part I was a little bit not super convinced. So there's this whole thing about capturing 3D video, and you can sort of live in the moment again. And I understand the headset has a lot of cameras to capture things, but it feels like I don't know how it would feel like watching these 3D films, because especially if you're moving back and forth, because I have a 360 camera. If you move the 360 camera back and forth when you're watching it, it's gonna move back and forth, right? So I don't know how they handle it, if they're doing any sort of machine learning process to sort of generate more of the world, or something, or capture the world more. But when you're watching the 3D video, is it going to be moving around? If you move around, what will it do? So I'm interested in trying that out. Another thing is FaceTime, and being able to do FaceTime in the headset, and specifically presentations and things like that, like this, presentations in a 3D space. I don't know too much about FaceTime. I don't know about this idea of FaceTiming people. It's obviously cool to do that in the headset, seeing them in 3D space. But at the same time, it's not gonna be you because you're wearing the headset. They can't see your real face. Apple solved this with a 3D avatar generated of your face by scanning your face before you use the headset. And then when you're talking, it will animate it. But I don't know. I think FaceTime is pretty good as it is. Again, I'll have to try this out to see if it's good or bad. But it's definitely going to be a good experience for the headset users. I don't know if it will feel as genuine for the other people on the call. And yeah, this is some of the design of the headset. I think that's basically all I want to talk about specifically on this website. Of course, the tech specs. There's things about the sensors that I'm not going to get into too much right now because they released some of the details like the sensor arrays, the chips that's powering it. It's powered by two chips. But the thing is, they didn't release anything about the headset, about the screens that are inside the headset. I'm interested in knowing, uh, according to all participants, it's really, really, really good, but I'm interested in knowing the exact resolution. They say 23 million pixels and the sort of FOV and a lot of those things. And if you can adjust the interpupillary distance, there's a lot of things that these VR headsets require that isn't really talked about here because there's not very concrete specs. And of course, the headset audio is two speakers firing at your ears, and it's supposed to be able to do spatial audio. I have no doubt that Apple is able to create a good audio experience. And if anything, you can just wear AirPods and get a good experience. Now, on to the two cons that I think is pretty big. Number one is probably expected. It's the price. It's a first generation product. It's $3,499, and that is a lot of money. And to me, at this moment, I don't see it being justified for me. For a lot of other people, it might be justified, but at least for me, it's cool. I'd rather, no offense, I'd probably rather just get a cheap VR headset and do VR stuff because I don't think that the whole Windows everywhere is worth 3,500. That's the cost of a very good Mac. So that's one thing. And the second thing that's making me not want to buy this is the battery life. So it does have an external battery, as you can see from these pictures. There's a cable there. There's a cable, let's see, there's a cable here. So yeah, this is the cable that's connected, and if you're wondering what it's connected to, it's connected to a battery pack. I think it's a standard battery pack size, sort of like an iPhone size battery pack, and it only lasts 2 hours. And the thing about it lasting 2 hours is you can't do that much with it. Um, 2 hours for context, the WWDC event was longer than 2 hours. Uh, the standard movies are longer than 2 hours, and if it's 2 hours of video playback, which is the metric that they use for MacBooks, iPhones, and things like that, you can't even run apps for that long. Then it will probably drain the battery even more if you have more demanding apps. So I'm very worried about the battery life, and it's definitely something for first generation adopters. So I think I'm going to be waiting for that Series 3 moment. So for Apple Watch, it took until I think personally the Series 3 was the first watch that was really, really well refined and really, really worth the money. The first Apple Watch that released became the Series 0, and the Series 1 was a huge leap beyond that. I think it was probably two times better. The Series 2 was another leap, and then the Series 3 was another leap, but then that was the one that really made everything usable. So I'm waiting for that moment to get into this, but I do want to try this out, and I do need to hold a lot of judgment before I try it out, until after I try it out, because, I think this sort of device, especially, it's a new product category. It's hard to judge if it's good or bad just by looking at it. So I will try it out whenever it's available. It's supposedly coming in 2024, but for now, it's not a device for me. Maybe if I try it out, it will seem much better than I think it is, but at this moment, it's 90% not useful for me. I think there are some things that are useful, like the entertainment is cool. Having your Mac screen mirrored out is cool, but those are not necessities. All right, lastly, let's talk about some people's thoughts really quickly. So, this person said, I spent some time using Apple Vision Pro. Apple has something big here, and they know it. This is the future of computing. My experience was trippy, freaky, hard to describe, but almost like a dream. Spatial photos, videos gave me goosebumps, will revolutionize memories. I spent about 30 minutes using Apple Vision Pro, went through 15 or so different things. Slight learning curve to use, but by the end I was navigating 3 to 4 steps, including moving between apps on my own, just fine. A very surreal experience made iPhone, iPad, Macs feel dated. So that's an interesting take. Apparently, um, it's a surreal experience, which I don't doubt. It looks amazing, and if it looks as good as the renders, it's gonna be amazing. It's like you're not wearing anything and you got screens all over, and you can go between screens. That's cool, and I do want to try that out. And I think it's very cool to see that this person said that they got over the learning curve of the gestures in just 15 to 30 minutes. Like that's really good, and that shows sort of Apple's ability to make gestures really simple, and that's like sort of when they move from the home button to a gesture bar. Those gestures were probably the best. Like Android gestures were very confusing. The Apple gestures you kind of just get used to, and it feels very natural, right? Another person also said basically it's a very trippy experience. It's a very weird experience, and it transported them to a different world, but also making them connected to the real world. And it's very interesting. And same thing as MKBHD also said, it's just a very weird experience because you know that it's fake, but at times it feels very real, and the AR is just really cool. So I don't know. As I said, I do need to see how this headset is myself. See it to believe it, and that's basically my personal thoughts. Is I need to see it before I'll buy it. I'm not going to pre-order this or anything, and I don't think I'm going to buy it at all. But I do want to experience it because it does look like a really good experience, and it looks way better than any other VR or mixed reality headset on the market right now, and the price certainly shows it. I don't. I think this is way better than any sort of consumer VR headsets. Obviously, you can't play that many games. There's no controllers. You can't play Beat Saber. But it does so much more than things like the Meta Quest. All right. Finally, just some memes that I want to share. Someone says this says all you need to know about Apple versus Meta. So as I said, you can create your own virtual 3D avatar to use in FaceTime. It scans your face and then makes an avatar for you. And then you got digital avatar in Meta. It's Zuck next to the Eiffel Tower. I love this image. It always makes me laugh because it's so funny. And finally, this film I'm going to link also. It's sort of an imagination of the future, and basically this AR glasses. You can see reality, but also all of these overlays on top of reality, and sort of that seems to be the future that we're heading towards. Um, it's gonna be both good and bad. We'll see how developers hopefully push us towards the nice section and not just be a bunch of ads and monetization and everything, but we'll see. So yeah, that's basically all of my thoughts on the new headset. It's cool. It's very expensive. It lasts only 2 hours, which is not long enough for a lot of the uses. Obviously, you can keep it plugged in, which then you can't really move, which then sort of undermines the whole idea of the headset. But it's cool to see Apple enter into the space, which means everybody else is going to be excited and sort of develop in the space. And I'm looking forward to the day where this stuff will become much more affordable and perhaps will replace the iPhone. I don't know if it will right now, especially it's really weird and awkward to wear a ski goggle everywhere. I don't even want to wear my AirPods Maxes everywhere because they're just big and bulky and looks weird. But hopefully they can make it to the size of the glasses and yeah, we'll see. So that's basically my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making another video on the other stuff in WWDC very soon. But the headset is the big headlining feature. I spent 30 minutes talking about some of my thoughts, and it's not even, there's a lot more to talk about this headset, but I definitely do want to try it out. Hopefully, in hopefully they'll put it in Apple stores soon, but it might take until next year. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments if you're excited about this Vision Pro headset as well, or if you think it's a gimmick, or if you think this isn't the direction of technology and this isn't where we're gonna be going. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.